also see that boxing is a business and that they're looking for the biggest paydays that they can possibly get, because I would have proven that I am the best. And I have all the belts at that particular time when it happened. And for him to still look in another direction, it shows you exactly the impression that I left on him that night before.
You take that as a slight or a compliment? It could be.
Oh, it's a compliment. Oh, for sure. It's a compliment. Because I've always known in the back of my mind that Triple G know he lost that fight. I could see it in his eyes when they gave him the decision. And he hasn't really been vocal ever about giving me the rematch. You know, it's always just been small talk or wiping it under the rug. So for me, I just want to make sure that I not only fight Golovkin again and prove the naysayers wrong, but prove to him that he knows that I'm the best fighter and I'm better than he is.
This is the last thing. What has been the hardest part of this particular training camp? Perhaps in introducing new wrinkles that you haven't necessarily done before?
I haven't really done anything majorly different than any other camp that I've had. We just had a lot of guys who spar kind of similar to Canelo's style. And I've kept my camp here in New York City. We have everything that we need here in this facility at Competitive Edge Athletics. You know, I've been training here for the last, say, 5 to 6 years, and this is the biggest fight that we had. I wanted to make sure that I was home and can be in New York and still feel that energy where it all started, still feel the vibes, and go out to Las Vegas and make history.
You think you'll bring a slice of Brooklyn with you for the for your entrance?
Absolutely. I'm going to go to Brownsville because we leave tomorrow. So I'm going to go to Brownsville to make sure I get most of that love that, you know, that I was raised on, and feel that energy so I can go out and conquer the world, because, you know, and where I'm from, it's Brooklyn versus everybody.
I keep saying last question, but do you do that before most of your fights? Go to
No,
Brownsville?
I don't. I've done it for big fights before. I've done it for the Golovkin fight. But this will probably be the second time that I actually purposely go back to Brownsville to get some of that love, to see my neighborhood, see my, just, you know, revisit where I'm from, to see where it all started, just to feel lively, to go back out and, like I said, conquer the world, because I really feel like this is an opportunity for me to fulfill my dreams. This is my one shot.
Does that clear your mind when you go back home, or what does that do for you?
It clears my mind. Most importantly, it just motivates me. Like I said, history in Brownsville, just Brooklyn alone, it's really hard to describe it, but if you're not from there, you would never understand. So for me, just to go back and get most of that love and to get that energy, get that vibe, to go back out to Vegas, I mean, it's going to be priceless.
And you'll do that today?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, no worries.
Speaking about controversial lenses, Daniel, with Golovkin,
Your voice is really soft, bro. You're gonna have to bring that up a little bit. I can't hear you.
Speaking about that controversial loss with Golovkin,
Yeah.
What do you take from that fight going into it, Canelo? Because it was a little bit controversial. I don't agree that it was unanimous, maybe even questionable majority at best. So what have you learned from that fight going into this fight with Canelo?
That you have to be more decisive in your win. You can't make fights close. You have to go in there and leave no doubt in not only the judges' minds, but the fans' minds that you have best Canelo inside that ring, because, you know, from the outside looking in, most people would say that there's favoritism towards Canelo when he's fighting in Vegas or when he's fighting anywhere in the world. I mean, we just seen Mangun, what's his name?
Munguia.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, so we just seen a very controversial fight, and I thought Mr. Hogan won that fight, you know? So it just goes to show you that what fans speak about, as far as, you know, there being this sort of influence that Goldenboy has on judges or has on boxing, it's just really not making it easy. So for me, I have to stay focused and make sure that I go in there and make a decisive win so that we can have no controversy.
Now, of course, Canelo brings a lot of fundamentals into the ring. He has very good counter punching, a lot of speed, a lot of power, utilizes very good movement. So how are you, is there anything that you're doing different in this training camp to prepare for that kind of fighter, that kind of style in the ring?
The only thing I would say I would do differently is switch up my sparring partners and be a little bit more on my feet. So I've been coming forward a lot of my past fights. I've been more of the aggressor, power puncher. I think the only thing different for this fight is, obviously Canelo takes a pretty good shot. He's very elusive in his upper body, so we want to make sure that we're a little faster on our feet and with our hands and with our combinations than we're used to seeing in some of my previous fights.
Hey Danny, on a recent call, Canelo said he felt that you won the fight against Triple G.
Yeah.
He has a lot of respect for you. He also said that you're the most unique opponent he ever fought. So what's your respect level for him? Like, do you feel that he's as good as everybody says he is?
Only time will tell, but as far as respect, I mean, I give him all the respect in the world because.
Well, I mean, like on the outside looking in,
Yeah.
do you feel that he's as good, like, somewhere in the top 5 pound for pound? Do you feel that he's
Oh
as
yeah,
good?
definitely, definitely top 10 pound for pound. I would say I would rate Canelo because there are some controversial fights that he had that I felt like he lost, and I thought he lost both fights with Golovkin. But as far as respect, yeah, I mean I respect any opponent that steps foot inside that ring and face another man because this is a kill to be killed sport. So, but that's where the respect ends. As far as going inside that ring and wanting to be the victor, wanting to take his head off, and wanting to prove to the world that I'm the best gladiator out in the world that there is, that's my true intention. So there's no respect when it comes to that. But we're both gentlemen, and we're both, in my opinion, great ambassadors for the sport. So it shows. But outside of that, I mean, once we're inside that square ring, it's gonna be a blood sport.
Okay, one more thing I wanted to ask you is, are you tired of talking about the judges? It seems like every interview somebody asks you, are you worried? X, Y, and Z. Do you have to knock them out? Knockout. And in your last couple fights, you haven't got the knockout, but you always got a knockdown.
Yeah.
So, is that the kind of like, I mean, probably not in your head, but is it like annoying to you at some point? Just like, okay, we get it.
Yeah.
You got the judges.
I mean, yeah, it's a little annoying that we keep having to talk about judges and them not being fair or giving Canelo favoritism. It is annoying, but it's also a fact in most people's minds. So I think that's why it's talked about so much. So I mean, I don't mind answering the questions, but it could be a bit of annoying because I want to be able to go in there with a clear mind frame that I don't have to fight 2 people. Well, not 2 people, but how many judges are there? So what? 4 people, right? I don't want to have to feel like I got more stress on me than I need to because Canelo is a force in himself, and it's going to take, in my mind, it's going to take a lot to figure him out.
Okay, kind of contradicting myself because now I'm about to ask you a question about the judges, but the Lara fight, people felt he lost. The Triple G fight said he felt he lost both. So, is it kind of hard to look back at those tapes? Because it's like, okay, I felt like this guy won and this guy won, but he didn't get the decision. So is it kind of hard to have somebody to choose, okay, I'm going to watch this fight, other than Mayweather, which was so long ago? Right. Is it kind of hard?
No, it's not really hard. I still study the Lawrence fights. I still studied fights in both Triple G fights. I still studied fights in which most people thought he lost because, for me, those are his bad habits, right? And those were guys were able to exploit some of his bad habits. Now, Canelo may have the best upper body movement and head movement, but his legs and his knees doesn't really hold up well, and he can't really cut the ring off. Let's say like a Sergey Derevyanchenko or a Golovkin or somebody like that who's a power pressure type of guy. So we look at certain things like that, and then me being one of the longest fighters that he's faced too, and being so fast, I think I'll be able to really use that to my advantage.
And the last thing that I wanted to ask you is, you said this is kind of like your legacy fight. I think a lot of people feel you win this fight, you go into the Hall of Fame. Even if you don't, you still got great shots. You have a long career ahead of you. Going forward, do you feel as though, do you feel like you get the respect from everybody? Not just, I mean, if you look at the middleweight list, you're probably, probably everybody will have you either 2 or 3, either behind Canelo or, maybe behind Canelo and Triple G, something like that. So you get a lot of respect there. But at least I don't ever see you on the pound for pound list. And I think you deserve a lot of consideration for it because you feel like a lot of good fighters. You have really great style. You've knocked out a bunch of people. Do you feel like you get the respect in that aspect?
Um, yeah, that's a good question because, sometimes in boxing you really have to prove yourself, and if you didn't have the name and the power and the brand to really be marketed to the world, you really have to still work at that to get that recognition. So I think with the win over Canelo, I would be given everything that I'm rightfully so deserved. But as far as not being in pound for pound list or, none of that stuff really matters to me because that's all about the fans anyway. They can pick and choose who they see fit as far as pound for pound list goes and who they like. And that's a favoritism thing anyway. So if I'm not the fans' favorite after this fight, then I got a lot more work to do. But my job is really not to worry so much about that. It's really just to go in there and be victorious because it's still my job. So.
Forget about the skills though. Do you think it's probably because you're not an asshole? Like you're like a super nice guy. You literally talk to everybody. To maybe some other guys probably won't talk to everybody, but you're like just super chill and.
I don't know. Cool. I know. For the most part, not just in boxing, but in sports and in the world, controversy sells. So, I mean, I'm not sure if that's why I'm not a bigger household name, but I can't really focus on that. Where I come from, I stay true to who I am. How I was raised, I will always keep that integrity as far as being a stand-up guy. And me having a child, I know he watches everything that I do. So, I can't be goofy, like some of these dudes are out here in the world just to get, more ratings. So, like I said, boxing is my job, and I have to make sure that I come to work prepared every day to be victorious.
Gotcha. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
By the way, I'm from Brownsville too.
I already know, bro.
Gotcha.
If you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.